A strike by LCBO workers has begun. Pickets targeted the main distribution center this morning, and retail stores are closed. Good afternoon. This is the first strike in LCBO history.
Both sides are far apart, and retail stores will be closed for at least 2 weeks. We will have that story in just a moment. But first,
we've got breaking news, an update now on a murder at a Falstaff Avenue apartment building, and word that a 14-year-old has been charged. The youth faces 1 count of first-degree murder. CTV's Beth McDonnell joins us now from the scene with more details. Beth.
Nathan, yes, a 14-year-old boy has been arrested and charged with first-degree murder. The victim, the shooting victim, was killed at the complex of apartments you see behind me on Falstaff near Jane in North York. 20-year-old A.J. Simpson of Toronto was gunned down on Monday, June 24th, just before midnight. At the time, it wasn't clear if the shooting was targeted. Toronto police say 4 suspects were in a light-colored SUV. They got out and fired several shots before taking off. Simpson was found with gunshot wounds. Paramedics tried to save him, but he was pronounced dead in hospital. The 14-year-old suspect was scheduled to appear in court this morning. Police are urging anyone with information to contact police or Crime Stoppers. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Now back to Nathan.
Okay, thanks, Beth. Also today, Toronto police announced a pair of arrests following a deadly stabbing at a subway station. On the evening of June 25th, police say 2 men had an argument on a bus before exiting at Jane Station. There they had a physical altercation that allegedly saw the suspect stab the victim. 39-year-old Matthew Rumble did not survive his injuries. Investigators arrested 22-year-old Tafai Silva Apoku Buadu yesterday in Waterloo and charged him with second-degree murder. A second suspect is charged with accessory after the fact.
We're still keeping a close eye on Hurricane Beryl as it makes landfall at Tulum in Mexico. But first, a look at the forecast here in our neck of the woods. Another hot and humid start to the weekend. There's also a chance of showers and possible thunderstorms. Lots of things happening this weekend as well as what's going on there at Nathan Phillips Square. Things do look good right now outside. Jess is here with a look at the current conditions. Hey, Jess.
Hey, it's another hot and humid day. Really no surprise, right? But as we head into the evening, that's when we're watching for the best chance of showers to make their way through, Nathan. So as you kind of head throughout the rest of your day, it's all right. It's hot out there, but in the evening, if you have any plans, bring an umbrella. For now, though, it remains dry, really sunny, but we're keeping a close eye on the system set to make its way in as we head through the later half of our day. But for now, it's just sunny and warm out there. We're sitting kind of in that mid-20 range. Again, it feels into the mid-30s. So yes, hot and humid out there, but we are not near that heat warning criteria, so maybe some good news there. Temperature-wise, through the islands, through Pearson, not too much of a difference today. We've got a pretty light easterly wind over towards the islands, through Pearson, southeasterly, but regardless, it is light, and it feels into the 30s, and it's only getting warmer as we head into the second half of our day. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast as we dive in towards the weekend, but right now it's back over to Nathan and Natalie.
All right. Thank you, Jess. Well, police are asking for the public's help in an arson investigation. Now, take a look. Do you recognize these suspects? Early Wednesday morning, they're accused of using a rock to break open the window of a business near Eastern and Knox Avenue. It's alleged they then used liquid from bottles and a jerry can to set a fire and cause significant damage to the interior of the building. They were then seen fleeing in a small black SUV. Anybody with any information is asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers.
Returning now to our top story, the LCBO strike, the first in the LCBO's history, and CTV's John Musselman, who is at the main LCBO distribution center in Whitby. John, what's the latest?
Well, the picket lines are up behind me, as you can see here at this warehouse. There have been a lot of car honking as people come by offering their support to the union, but the deadline came at midnight last night, no deal reached, so they're now on strike. Thousands of LCBO workers are on the picket line across the province after the union and the government-owned liquor agency failed to reach a deal. OPSEU, the union representing 9,000 workers, entered a legal strike position at midnight. Lines went up at this LCBO warehouse in Whitby.
We're talking about $2.5 billion in revenue that would disappear from public health care and education and go into private corporations. We're not talking about mom and pop shops. We're talking about Costco, Loblaws, giant grocery chains, giant convenience store chains.
The union is fighting for better wages and more full-time positions. It's also concerned about job losses with the expansion of alcohol sales into other retail outlets like convenience stores. The union says it doesn't oppose the policy, but the province has made no guarantees employees won't be affected.
So even after 7, 8, 9 years working with the board, being a supervisor of sections, being a shift leader, all kinds of things, that doesn't actually get us any job security.
Job security is number one, so that's what we're fighting for, and that's why I'm down here supporting everyone here and everywhere else, is because some people take, it can be decades before you can move from casual to a permanent part-time or a full-time position.
Meanwhile, the government expressed disappointment as strike has begun. We have engaged in collective bargaining with OPSEU in hopes of reaching a fair and equitable agreement that addresses their considerations while ensuring the long-term sustainability of our operations. Despite our best efforts, we have not yet been able to do so. The LCBO says it offered pay increases and 400 casual workers would be converted to full-time. As for customers, the LCBO says it will reopen about 32 stores after 14 days, but the stores will offer limited hours. The LCBO says its warehouses will also remain open during the strike, but delivery trucks will be met by picket lines.
Yeah, I don't think so they are going to unload me, but let's see.
So what do you do now if you can't unload?
Maybe I have to go back.
The province says residents can still purchase beer and wine at retail locations like grocery stores.
And this is also the first time in history the LCBO has actually gone on strike. Now the government is urging the OPSEU Union Bargaining Committee to get back to the bargaining table to try to reach a deal here. We'll have to see what happens. Reporting live in Whitby, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you, John. The search continues in Mississauga for 3 suspects accused of carjacking a mother and her child. Just before a Wednesday evening, Peel police say they were called to the parking lot of the Heartland Town Centre. They say 3 people approached the victim as she was getting into a white BMW with her child. Neither was inside the rental car when 2 of the suspects drove away with it, while a third took off in a black sedan.
I understand that this is a disturbing event for our community, and we would just want to ensure to our community that we are working our best to determine what happened during the incident, and we are trying to figure out who were those suspects. If anyone has information who were in that area or may have a dash cam footage or he may have seen something or heard something, we encourage you to contact us.
The Peel Police Central Robbery Bureau has taken charge of the investigation. No injuries were reported.
The president of the University of Toronto is weighing in on the departure of a pro-Palestinian encampment from campus after a judge granted the school an injunction calling for its removal.
Our legal case sought to ensure the full recognition of our fundamental values of academic freedom, freedom of expression and assembly, peaceful protest, and due process for all members of the university community.
Mayor Gertler said he is under no illusions about how difficult it will be for the university community to recover from the tensions that came to a head over the encampment, which formed in early May, calling for U of T to divest all ties with Israel. Demonstrators left before a 6 p.m. deadline Wednesday, saying they did not want to risk a police operation to remove them.
Hurricane Beryl made landfall today in Mexico, hitting the Yucatan Peninsula.
The Category 2 storm came ashore at the resort town of Tulum, with maximum sustained winds dipping slightly to around 160 kilometers per hour. Beryl also brought heavy rain as the storm lashed the area, including some beach destinations. The governor has urged people to remain indoors as dangerous storm surges and destructive waves are forecast. Mexico's Civil Protection Agency has issued a red alert, signaling a maximum hazard threat. About 120 storm shelters were opened ahead of the hurricane's arrival. The storm wreaked havoc across several Caribbean islands this week and is blamed for the deaths of at least 11 people.
Jamaica will begin recovery efforts after being hit by the storm yesterday. The hurricane skirted the country's southern coast, pummeling communities as a powerful Category 4 storm. It damaged numerous buildings in Kingston, while Port Royal was mostly unscathed. Emergency workers evacuated people from flood-prone areas, and there was also widespread power outages.
The severity of damages in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl are tangible and devastating. Red Cross teams on the ground have confirmed that Beryl's life-threatening rains and winds have severely impacted the most vulnerable populations in Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, and Jamaica.
Beryl's expected to weaken rapidly as it crosses the Yucatan Peninsula. But the region then regain strength in the Gulf of Mexico, moving toward northeastern Mexico and South Texas late in the weekend. With the Toronto Caribbean Carnival just around the corner, organizers say it will be particularly important to take part in and support the celebration this year.
One of the things that we've learned in the Caribbean is to be resilient. And part of what keeps our resiliency going is our music, our food, our culture. This is our DNA, to rally around each other, to support each other. And if we weren't celebrating, we will not be able to recover. And we want people to celebrate, but also understand that our contributions are necessary to help the islands come back to a state of operating.
As the recovery continues, the countdown is on to the first main event of the festival, the 2024 Junior King and Queen Showcase on July 14th.
Former Foreign Affairs Minister Marc Garneau says Canada has lost its standing in the world under the tenure of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. In his autobiography, Marc Garneau criticizes Trudeau as an ill-prepared leader who prioritizes politics and makes big announcements without any follow-through. Garneau was first elected in 2008 as a Liberal MP and served in Trudeau's cabinet for 6 years, more than 5 of those as Minister of Transport. He staged an unsuccessful run for the party's leadership in 2013.
The UK woke up to a vastly different political landscape today. Keir Starmer delivered his first speech as Prime Minister this morning after the Labour Party's landslide election victory.
Service is merely a precondition of hope, and it is surely clear to everyone that our country needs a bigger reset, a rediscovery of who we are, because no matter how fierce the storms of history, one of the great strengths of this nation has always been our ability to navigate a way to calmer waters. And yet this depends upon politicians, particularly those who stand for stability and moderation, as I do.
Starmer officially became Prime Minister this morning after being appointed by the King. Voters gave Labour a massive win with 412 of Parliament's 650 seats. But the victory will bring huge challenges as the party faces a weary electorate impatient for change. Starmer is expected to get briefings on a wide range of key issues affecting the government today on his first full day in office.
Well, it is a big night for Canada in Copa America soccer. We will be facing Venezuela. CTV's Scott Hurst joins us now live with the latest on this. Scott, start off by telling us how big is this game for Team Canada?
Natalie, this is a highly anticipated matchup for Canada and really the unlikeliest of qualifiers to move on to the knockout stage, particularly when you think about our North American rivals in the U.S. and Mexico, already eliminated from the Copa America tournament, and now Canada in the knockout stages, in the tournament for the first time, let alone in the knockout stage for the first time. And this is just setting yet another high bar for the men's squad, and a win tonight would be one of the marquee wins of the entire program. So it is win or go home against Venezuela. But there has been some adversity this week for the men's squad as they've been practicing and training. One of their top players, Kejon Buchanan, ended up breaking his leg, and so he'll be out for this match and obviously out for the foreseeable future. But a lot of the players have been talking about using that as a rallying cry, really doing it for him and coming together to say, even despite this adversity, they can still face some of the top teams in the world. And so he might not be on the pitch tonight, Natalie, but Kejon Buchanan will be on the sidelines tonight cheering on his squad. And the players are looking at this as maybe something they can do and win it for Tejon and really rally behind some of the adversity they've had this week as they go into this highly anticipated matchup against Venezuela.
Okay, and Scott, we know that Canada is actually ranked higher than Venezuela. Does that make Canada the favorite here?
Well, actually, Canada is the underdog tonight, despite, as you're saying, Canada is ranked higher in the worldwide rankings. But here's why. Venezuela in this tournament is 3-0, where Canada is 1-1-1. And Canada's really been struggling to get the ball on the back of the net. Only 1 goal so far in this tournament. And Venezuela has been a mainstay at the Copa America for many years now, whereas this is Canada's first ever time qualifying for this tournament. So you kind of put all these things together, and that is why, even though they are higher ranked in the official standings, they are underdogs tonight. And you can bet, though, this game taking place in Texas, there'll be a lot more fans going for the Latin American squad. So it'll be a tough place to play tonight, too.
Okay, so if Canada, the underdog, does in fact win tonight, who do they play next? Where does this go from here?
Well, if they do get the big victory tonight, they will end up against Argentina. And unfortunately, Argentina, of course, is the #1 ranked team in the world with the best player on the planet as well, and Lionel Messi. However, Argentina did seem to stumble a little bit in their game last night against Ecuador, their quarterfinal game. That game went to penalty kicks, and Messi himself missing a penalty kick last night. Canada does have some recent experience with Argentina. Of course, the first game of this tournament was against the South American powerhouse, and Canada was able to hold its own for a lot of the tournament. Argentina ended up winning handily in that game and finished top of our group. But if we can get through Venezuela tonight, it would be a tough matchup next Tuesday against Argentina.
Okay, CTV's Scott Hurst. Scott, thank you for this preview. We'll be watching.
Thanks, Natalie.
Well, if you're heading out tonight to go watch the game somewhere, bring the umbrella with you. We're not guaranteed showers, but again, we have all that daytime heating that's going to take place again, and the chance of showers is going to linger as we head really past 5 p.m. But this afternoon, if you're heading out to hit up a patio or just taking off early from work, we're looking at a beautiful afternoon, albeit a humid one, with humidex values once again into the 30s. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast, including what you can expect as we step into the weekend.
A 14-year-old has some explaining to do after taking the family car out for some food.
The teen ended up in a ditch along Highway 401 with the car on fire. CTV's Mike Walker has been following the story, and Mike, a very scary few moments for this teen and their family, I'm sure.
Yes, Natalie, this happened on the eastbound side of the 401 here in Mississauga. And OPP say just before that fiery crash, the teen had rear-ended another vehicle on the highway. We spoke with the driver of that vehicle. They tell us they are incredibly lucky that they were not seriously hurt. Traffic cameras along Highway 401 show heavy smoke billowing from a vehicle that crashed into the ditch near Mississauga Road after provincial police say it rear-ended a vehicle on the highway. The driver, the OPP say, was only 14 years old.
All I just felt was something hit me from behind in the rear driver's side, and it just spun me around and spun me around.
John Tazanis was on his way to work when he was rear-ended in the eastbound lanes just after 6 this morning. He says the force of the impact sent his vehicle crashing into the cement barricade.
At one point, the driver's side tire and the rear driver's side tire came up off the ground, so it almost just about went rolling. Luckily, it somehow came down, spun around, and I smashed into the guardrails. So it's pretty lucky, to be honest with you. I could have got clipped by another truck behind me, tractor trailer.
Police say the 14-year-old driver took their parents' vehicle out to get food. After the fiery crash, the teen driver and their passenger attempted to take off from the scene, but were caught by police.
You could see smoke going up in the air. And then you heard a big explosion. And at that point is when the OPP arrived. I guess they jumped out of the car and started running up the highway, but they were caught by OPP.
Tazanis says his vehicle is a write-off, and he's incredibly lucky to walk away from this crash.
I wish that kid no harm, right? Like is there bitterness in me? No. But I just wish sometimes like you use your head before you act like that.
Now, provincial police say they have charged the 14-year-old boy from Mississauga with driving without a license, careless driving, and failing to remain at the scene. Reporting live in Mississauga, I'm Mike Walker. Natalie, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Meanwhile, today, swimmers in Hamilton may have to make alternate plans after a local beach was shut down due to concerns over toxic algae. Hamilton Public Health Services says the blue-green algae has been found at Pier 4 Park Beach, and the closure will remain until the algae subsides. In the meantime, they are advising people and their pets not to swim and to wash immediately if you come into contact with the algae. Here in Toronto, an advisory not to swim at Marie Curtis Beach and Sunnyside Beach issued earlier this week has since been rescinded. Toronto Public Health had cited high levels of E. coli bacteria in the water, but their updated readings from all public beaches show all are now safe to swim. You can check those daily updates on the city's website.
You know, I was at Woodbine Beach last night. Didn't go in the water, but I just went for a nice walk. I do enjoy being by the water, a little bit cooler.
Yeah, but blazing hot this morning. Just an incredible day today to get out.
Listen,
for now, at least.
I'm more of a pool person than a lake lady, but I respect people who do like to go in the lakes. I just don't trust water I can't see the bottom of. But if you want to go in any kind of water, that's okay to go in today. It's a good one. It is hot out there. The humidity yesterday really kind of knocked you over when you didn't have that breeze going. And we have another really light wind today, so it's not doing much to provide any relief. So if you are spending some time outside, just bring the extra water. Take breaks in the shade accordingly because it's a warm one as we wrap up the week. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm. Injury lawyers, you don't pay unless they win. Now, lots of sunshine out there as we get our day started. The heat is building, it's rising, and as we head into that second half of our day, again, the chance of showers is there. Not guaranteed, but we have those right ingredients once again, and that's where that chance of active weather comes in the later half of our Friday. But for now, it is sunny, it is dry, and it is very humid out there. We're sitting at 27. It feels like 32. Everybody in kind of central southern Ontario holding on to a decent amount of warmth with, once again, those humidex values into the mid-30s. Heading into the afternoon, comfortably around 28, maybe 29, once again feeling into that mid-30 range. And that's the same really right across southern Ontario. We'll keep a close eye on these showers, likely to impact areas south of us to start the day, and then heading into the afternoon, it becomes a little more widespread. Tonight, mostly fog. The showers likely tapering off across southern Ontario as we approach midnight. But again, it is a warm one, but we are at least a little closer to seasonal as we head through our evening. This system, the bulk of it is going to sit just west of us, but it will push its way across as we head throughout the day today and then in towards the start of our Saturday. So it's just enough instability in the forecast where the chance of rain really just kind of lingers throughout the weekend. But your afternoon looking to be absolutely beautiful, albeit a little bit muggy out there. If you're heading out early, maybe you're heading up to a cottage this weekend, not bad if you're leaving in the early afternoon, but we are watching for showers to roll in, not necessarily everywhere in the downtown core, but kind of the north and west end of the city first. If you're heading up towards, say, Owen Sound, Huntsville, more organized showers, some thunderstorms for you. But heading into the early evening, really a lot of it clears out, and we're looking at not a bad night ahead of us. Your Saturday starting off relatively sunny, pretty dry, the chance of maybe a mid-afternoon shower, but very brief in nature. And then as we head in towards our Saturday evening, warm and relatively clear. So we're not looking at, again, a wash of a weekend or even the next couple of days, but because we have all this heat and humidity, it builds up throughout the day, it bubbles up, and then we see the potential of showers kind of in the second half of the day today and tomorrow. But temperature-wise, it's a little closer to seasonal as we head throughout the day today, but still looking at those humidex values into that mid-30 range for your Friday, your Saturday. Warm as well as we head in towards Sunday. Monday, we get a bit of a clearing finally, but we are watching for some showers to kind of potentially linger into the air as we head in towards our Tuesday. But overall, after that, we get a bit of a, I don't want to call it a cool down, but it's a return to more seasonal weather and even a little bit below heading in towards the middle and end of next week. So we're settling into July in a really beautiful way. Nathan Nelson, things back to you. Or to the break.
It is early bird day for the Princess Margaret Cottage Lottery. You have a chance to win $1 million cash with the early bird prize. You need to get your tickets now, though, before midnight, princessmargaretlotto.com. I am now joined by Ramona Oz with the Princess Margaret Cancer Foundation, and everyone loves a vacation property. The Princess Margaret Cottage Lottery is so popular.
That is right. The perfect opportunity to win one of 3 cottages. Of course, we're here today in Haliburton. Stunning prize valued at $2.6 million, includes the cottage and, of course, $50,000 cash. And let's talk about Prince Edward County, Georgian Bay. We've got somewhere for everyone, over 8,000 prizes in total.
Yeah, but you need to get your tickets before midnight for your chance to win $1 million cash. You know I love cash.
That's right.
Yeah.
And speaking of cash, well, we have our 50-50. So when you buy your home lottery ticket, you can add on. Jackpot is currently $3.5 million, and that's thanks to all of you. It will continue to grow. The winner will take home over $1.7 million. Now, what would you do with $1.7 million?
I know, right? I would definitely buy a pair of shoes and then maybe take a vacation.
Nice. Nice. Speaking of vacations, we're also giving away lots of vacations, and you can add on our 30 days of vacays. Every day for 30 days, we'll be giving away trips to Ireland, Kenya, you name it, we've got it.
And of course, it all goes to a wonderful cause.
That's right. Funds from the Princess Margaret Cottage Lottery really fuel cancer research at the Princess Margaret. We are one of the top 5 cancer research centers in the world. And know when you support the home lottery, you are supporting world-renowned researchers. We have the ability to attract the best of the best, and they are daring to dream of the impossible.
All right, so get your tickets now, princessmargaretlotto.com.
We have more now on the relief efforts in the wake of Hurricane Beryl's impact on Jamaica. The hurricane skirted the country's southern coast, pummeling communities as a powerful Category 4 storm. And joining us now is Senator Dana Morris-Dixon, Minister with responsibility for information with the Office of the Prime Minister in Jamaica. Thanks for joining us. You were there when all this happened. What was it like when the hurricane rolled through?
And thank you for having me. And I have to say hello to all of your viewers, and especially a lot of Jamaicans who are living in Toronto. It was a very difficult time during the hurricane. It was a Category 4. It did not come on land, but irrespective of that, the damage you can see from that powerful hurricane was actually quite significant. We do believe that we did fare quite well, given that it was a Category 4 right off the coast of Jamaica. If we think about Kingston didn't get as much damage as we saw in other parts of the country, but it was very intense at times, very strong winds, very heavy rain. And in the southern parts, especially in areas such as Clarendon, Manchester, and St. Elizabeth, they got the worst of it. And that's where we see the most damage from the hurricane.
Are you still assessing the damage, or recovery efforts? Has that begun?
We are assessing the damage across the country. We are hampered a little bit because of challenges in terms of electricity and connectivity. For telecoms providers, they rely on electricity from the grid to power their cell sites. So in many instances, we're not able to have the kind of communication that we would want to have with some of the affected areas. And so I know for some of your viewers, they may be trying to reach out to family members in those areas. It's really because the cell service is not that great, because electricity was lost in many of those areas. And that's because, as you know, with a wind event like Hurricane Beryl at a Category 4, power lines are going to be down, and you have to be really careful in clearing the debris from the trees and the lines so that electricity can be restored. But we are assessing the damage. Yesterday, the Prime Minister went by helicopter into the most affected area, which is St. Elizabeth, and he did several tours there. That is also our farming belt, and our farmers have been very affected by Hurricane Beryl. We're continuing to do the assessments throughout. Today, we have our military aircrafts have been up in the air assessing, our works agency has been assessing the road network. And so we believe that by the end of today, we have a cabinet meeting, and we'll be able to have a better idea of the damage that has been done across Jamaica.
You know, you can't stop Mother Nature, but is Jamaica better prepared to handle hurricanes than, let's say, 20, 30 years ago?
Oh, yes, most definitely. I think this was the most prepared we have ever been in preparing for a hurricane. We have much more advanced systems available, especially even in terms of communication for disaster recovery. We have a new system that we had just put in place that we used throughout the hurricane and was working quite well, so that the disaster response teams across the police, across the military, and all of our other government agencies could communicate quite seamlessly through the hurricane and get to the areas that needed good support. If we look at even casualties from the hurricane, right now I only have 2 confirmed deaths. I mean, 2 is too many, but you know, for a Category 4 storm, it could have been a lot worse. And we've done quite well in the preparation before, getting the message out to everyone that this was not a normal storm. It needed to be taken seriously, and I think many persons heeded that warning, and we were able to see the preparation efforts really being at the best that they could have been. And also, I have to note, too, on the resilience side, this is the first time that we've been able to say that we have, for example, catastrophe bonds and other financial instruments that we can actually have access to. Will they be enough to rebuild the parts that have been damaged? No, but at least we're in a better position than we've ever been in the past, where we actually do have some resources to assist with the recovery.
Good to hear. And what's the need finally? How can people help?
All right. Well, I think the key thing is let's get the assessments completed, and I can come back on if you want me to after. We do have a cabinet meeting this evening, and we will be going through what that assessment is right as we speak. Our Minister of Foreign Affairs is in contact with all of our diplomatic missions around the world. In Canada, in Toronto, we have our High Commission there. You can always reach out to the High Commission. We're sending periodic updates in terms of what the need is. So for any Jamaicans, you can reach out to the Jamaican High Commission in Toronto, and they can direct you. By tomorrow, we will have disseminated much more widely an account number where individuals, whether they're Jamaican or just have come to Jamaica on vacation and want to assist, can send their support. And so we're coordinating everything throughout the course of today, and by tomorrow we'll have a better handle on what exactly we do need.
All right, we'll stay in touch and check in for that information. Yeah. Senator Dana Morris-Dixon, thank you so much for your time. All the best.
And thank you for your support too. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Well, to other news now, as the cost of groceries continue to rise, many shoppers have been frustrated having to buy multiple items to get a discounted deal.
Now, Loblaw says it is getting rid of these types of offers at its no-frills stores. Here's Pat Foran with Consumer Alert.
Loblaw recently had to deal with a boycott of its stores by some customers, upset the company was making record profits at a time when grocery prices were rising. Now, at least with its No Frills brand, it's changing one policy some consumers love to hate.
They didn't like the multi-buy program. So what we've done is we've dropped it. I don't want to buy 2 or 3 granola bars. I just want to purchase the one.
In a statement from No Frills, the company's president said, "Our customers told us they don't want to have to buy more to save more. Instead, everyday low prices extend to individual items, making it more affordable." There were some families and people that buy in bulk that liked the multi-buy deals, but there were also single people and seniors who felt they were being penalized if they only wanted one item.
In order to get a deal, if you have to buy more, that's not fair.
There really isn't much savings to it, and all you do is spend more money.
There was also a concern people were buying food they didn't need, which could lead to more expired products and food waste.
You're basically treating everyone the same, but is that treatment better for everyone? Time will only tell.
Food professor Sylvain Charlebois says while getting rid of multi-buy offers may seem like a good idea, he says it's not clear if it will make groceries cheaper.
We will monitor prices over the next little while and see whether or not prices will go up as a result of the end of this practice at No Frills, because you may actually see prices per unit go up instead of going down for everyone. So we need to be careful here.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Well, history will be made today, at least for Canadian soccer fans here at home. Canada looks to carry on its stroke of excellence at Copa America as it faces Venezuela in today's quarterfinals. It'll mark the first time the country plays a knockout game in the tournament, with eyes focused on gold. And that game can be watched on TSN at 9 tonight. And TSN's Matthew Shinetti joins us with more ahead of today's match. This is going to be a tough one. What do you think of Canada's chances?
Good to talk to you, Nathan. Certainly a tough one in the sense that we look at both Venezuela and Canada, and this is a significant moment for both of them. Venezuela, to start with, this is a nation that doesn't regularly get to this point in the CONMEBOL South American region. They're kind of considered, I won't say the boot heel of the continent, but they are not that successful when it comes to Copa America. The last time they went to the semifinals was about 13 years ago. And inside AT&T Stadium, I can tell you, Nathan, there's going to be tens upon tens of thousands of Venezuelans. But let's now focus on Canada because they have dealt with partisan crowds before. Speaking to the players after they were in Orlando facing Chile, they all said to me when we were hearing the Chilean fans sing their anthem afterwards, we, the starting 11, looked at each other and we kind of laughed, not to disrespect the anthem, but to say, once again, here we go. We're against a crowd that's not going to be with us, and that's been the case for the whole month this team has been together since they were in the Netherlands and in France and then in Atlanta and Kansas City. But there's a different feeling around this Canadian team tonight, irrespective of the fact that whatever team wins will go on to New Jersey to face Argentina. This Canadian team maybe has a different kind of X factor because of the Tajon Buchanan injury that happened earlier this week. Such an important player when you think about potentially helping Canada's offense. And Canada's only scored 1 goal in this tournament, remember, Nathan. But Tajon Buchanan breaks his leg during training. There's been such a swell of emotion with this Canadian team, that brotherhood that really propelled them to the 2022 World Cup. It appears to be back, and Tajon Buchanan will be here. He arrived back at the team hotel yesterday. But new coach Jesse Marsch, observing that brotherhood and that energy, has a certain kind of confidence, because waiting for Canada or Venezuela after this quarterfinal will be Lionel Messi and Argentina after they won last night in Houston against Ecuador. There is so much on the line tonight.
Yeah, it's a tough hill to climb. So who's going to fill in for Tajon?
Well, that's a big question, isn't it? It's not necessarily who's going to fill in for Tajon, but that starting 11, Tajon Buchanan wasn't a part of it the last 2 games. They're going to have to execute. You think about Kyle Lair, and you think about, obviously, Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David, Stefan Eustáquio. If you look at the stats in this tournament, Canada has had so many big chances. They haven't capitalized on them. But tonight, certainly they're going to have to, because there's no extra time in this version of Copa America. After 90 minutes, if it's tied, it's going to penalties. And Canada has certainly practiced those penalties this week in practice. But they're going to want to score goals, because Venezuela scored 6 in the group stage, and you could feel they had tremendous Venezuelan crowds. Those first 15, 20 minutes are going to be key, because if Venezuela's offense starts rolling, Canada's offense has to match it.
Yeah, anything can happen. I mean, we saw Argentina almost lose. I'm just wondering, is there a small Canadian contingent? Are you seeing any Canadian fans as you are out and about?
Well, certainly we've been inside AT&T Stadium the last 2 days, but I've been getting messages from the Canadian supporters group, the Voyageurs, and they are around here. Just outside of AT&T Stadium is something called Texas Live, right by Globe Life Field, where the Texas Rangers play. And the Canadian fans will be amassing there in a few hundred, I'm hearing. Now, obviously, this is about 80,000 fans that can be in here. And again, predominantly, they will be Venezuelans. But here's the key that you need to know about these Canadian fans. Everywhere I have been on this Copa America journey, as Canada has either, as they did against Argentina, really tried to take a foothold in that match, irrespective of the fact they lost, when they beat Peru, and when they had, in those final minutes against Chile, those few hundred Canadian fans were very, very loud. I'm expecting the same tonight. Our pregame starts, Nathan, around 7:30, and we will have, obviously, the match at 9 and post-game coverage immediately after.
Yeah, I can't wait for this historic game. TSN's Matthew Shinetti on Copa America. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Kendrick Lamar is reopening his recent dispute with Drake that played out over a series of diss tracks.
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
Lamar released a music video for his track Not Like Us, which takes aim at Drake as the song continues to get an enthusiastic response from fans. Included in the video was a cameo from former Toronto Raptor DeMar DeRozan and imagery of Lamar destroying an owl-shaped piñata. The owl is a symbol of Drake's OVO brand. He has not yet commented. Still to come, another decline in the number of jobs in the economy. We'll have the details in business coming up.
Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
To business now, and the latest in job stats across the country.
There was actually a decline in the last month. B&M Bloomberg's Andrew Bell has the details.
Hello there. Here are your business headlines. The Canadian labour market unexpectedly lost jobs for the second time in 4 months, and it's seen as keeping the door open for more interest rate cuts. Unemployment rose to 6.4%. However, wage growth for permanent employees accelerated to 5.6% in June. Ottawa has approved a $6.9 billion US deal in which global miner Glencore is buying the steelmaking coal assets of Canada's Teck Resources. Teck announced a $2 billion share buyback and pledged to boost copper output. The government says Glencore made legally binding pledges to establish and maintain offices in Canada. And finally, Britain's new leader, Keir Starmer, faces a lot of economic heavy lifting to tackle problems ranging from crumbling public services to weak private investment. A key challenge for his Labour government will be revamping a tangled planning process that has seen local opposition stall new housing and green energy projects. That's the latest in business. I'm Andrew Bell of BNN Bloomberg.
To Canadian politics now, and a poll suggesting a majority of people think Justin Trudeau will stay on as party leader for the next election. The recent Leger survey found 2/3 believe Trudeau will be in place for the next election. 1 out of 3 think he will step down before the end of this year, with many believing it will happen by Labor Day. 25% believe Trudeau is doing a good job as Prime Minister. Questions about his future have swirled for months as the Liberal Party trails the Conservatives by a substantial margin in the polls. Those questions intensified after a Liberal stronghold in Toronto was won by the Conservatives in a by-election last week.
If you're taking the subway this weekend, there's a major closure to warn you about. On Line 1, subways won't be running between St. Clair and Shepherd Yonge stations all weekend to allow for planned track work. Shuttle buses will be operating instead. And if you're planning to take the GO Train's Barrie line this weekend, you'll instead be riding a replacement bus. The entire line is closed because of construction. Replacement buses will only go as far south as Highway 407 station, where riders can transfer to and from the TTC. Train service resumes Monday, but Metrolink says trains may still see schedule changes.
Coming up, a wrestling fan gets plenty of support from the pro wrestling world. That's after the break.
With summer travel season in full swing, Toronto Pearson is keeping up efforts to respond to potential emergencies at the airport. Take a look at this view from the CTV News chopper this morning of a charred plane. That's typically not what you'd like to see on the tarmac, but it was used by fire crews as part of an exercise this morning. The Greater Toronto Airports Authority says it takes fire prevention very seriously, and it is a dedicated team working around the clock to maintain safety for the public, employees, and partners.
Well, it was a dream come true for a wrestling fan from Guelph who won tickets to a major WWE event at Scotiabank Arena.
His hopes were quickly dashed when he was told there was no room for his wheelchair this weekend. However, wrestling always has twists and turns, and there has been one. CTV's Spencer Turcott has the story.
That is amazing. We're thrilled you're excited for the event.
Mike Ashkowe couldn't believe it after learning he had won 2 tickets through a Toys R Us contest to see the highly anticipated WWE Money in the Bank event in Toronto. He made his request right away for an accommodation.
I need accessible seating. I'm in a wheelchair. This has got to, you got to know this first. And then Toys R Us said, hey, yep, that's cool. We got you covered.
Only to learn the next day he wouldn't be able to go.
Unfortunately, accessibility tickets are all sold out. We're terribly sorry for this. These tickets were secured for us through our vendor partnership quite some time ago. At this time, we can offer you the cash value for the prize, $301.99. My heart just sank.
Deflated because he wouldn't be seeing his favorite WWE superstar.
The one I really want to see is Cody Rhodes. I've been following him for a couple of years.
When CTV News learned about the situation, we reached out to Toys R Us, MLSE, which owns Scotiabank Arena, and the WWE for clarity about where things went wrong. And then, during the interview with Ashkowe, a phone call came from the WWE.
Spencer.
Hey, how's it going? Is this, who is this?
This is Crystal Gentle, but I'd love to introduce you and Mike to the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
Oh my, holy hi.
Hi, Mike. Hi, Spencer. I just wanted to give you a quick shout. Chris pointed this out. I saw a lot of people on social who had mentioned what was going on in the situation. I'm so sorry that I'm sure you've figured it out, though. The cool thing here, though, is that we do have some tickets that are for you, tickets that are compliant and for you. Not only that, we're going to pay for your transportation and come to Money in the Bank. We can't a good fan like you sitting on the sideline. So I'm sorry that happened, but glad we can come together.
This is going to sound so cheesy as but I did not expect the American Nightmare to turn this into a Canadian dream. Like, holy dude.
A Canadian dream that brought tears to his wife's eyes. Both Toys R Us and MLSE responded, saying the issue has now been resolved. No reason was given for the accessibility gap. Ashkowe just hopes a lesson was learned and is thrilled the American nightmare turned this nightmare into a dream come true. Spencer Turcotte, CTV News, Guelph.
What a beautiful story. That reaction.
Listen,
lift you up on a Friday, right?
When you get that phone call mid-interview, it is pretty cool. And what a great story. And forecast-wise, it's pretty great as we head throughout the day today. So, off the top rope, it's that kind of forecast. But as we head into the evening, we are watching for the chance of maybe a few passing showers. If you do have any outdoor plans, just keep the umbrella handy. It's one of those things where we get so hot that chance of rain, it does kind of pop up very quickly, and it goes very quickly if it does come to fruition. But for now, we're sitting at 27. It feels like 32. Almost everybody in that mid to upper 20 range for the most part, and we are all feeling into the 30s. If you're taking off early, heading up to the cottage, a bit of a soggy cottage weekend, but still a warm one nonetheless. And those breaks and all that rain may be great for getting out onto the water. Temperature-wise, as we wrap up the week, remaining above seasonal. That's the trend as we head into your Saturday and Sunday as well. But looking ahead to next week, we go kind of the opposite way. We get a little, I don't want to say cooler, but we get a little more comfortable to spend some time outside. I like it, you guys.
Yeah, it looks good. Thank you, Jess. And that is CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at our website, ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Jessica Smith and all of us here, thank you for watching. I'm Natalie Johnson.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a great day.